Well, good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing? Man, I'll tell you what, please be seated. Wow. Well, actually, no, stand up. No, I'm just kidding. I really am just kidding. Man, what an intro. Boy, I'll tell you what, that makes me feel like I'm important. But, man, I'll tell you what, I love being able to do what we get to do each week. Don't you love a church called home? Man, love it. And I tell you what, I know they're gone, but I want you to know we have one of the best pastors in the whole city, in the whole state, in the whole nation. Let's give them a big hand while they're on their cruise having fun. Let them know that we love them. Yeah. Well, guys, like we do each week, man, let's give a whole lot of love to our online audience. Man, we're so glad that they join in with us every week. And while we're giving accolades, let me see my Grace Pantry team. Where you guys at? Raise your hands if you worked Grace yesterday. Yeah. So guess what? Over 15 people gave their hearts to the Lord yesterday because of what we did around here. Man, props to the Grace team. You guys always do such a great job. And man, we're just so thankful for you guys. Well, hey, listen, I get the pleasure of carrying on the series that we've been talking about lately with what Pastor Jay has started called What is Our Flavor? And for those of you, maybe you haven't been here very long or you've been here for 5 years, this is simply just a review of kind of what makes a church called home click. Why do we do what we do? And so this morning, I'm just going to continue in that series. I was cruising the internet the other day, and I found something that really, really spiked my interest. I want to know, does anybody in the room, anybody like buffalo chicken wings? Anybody? All right, good. I see it. I found this place on the internet. Man, when I seen this, my heart just jumped for joy. It was almost like getting saved all over again. There is a place on the internet that does barbecued buffalo chicken wing flavored soda. Come on, let's give it up for that. What? I think that's awesome. All right, I got another question for you. Who's ranch people with your buffalo chicken wings? Ranch? There we go. See, I got you, girl, right there. Ranch, they make ranch flavored soda. I'm just telling you. So here's what I think I'm going to do. I think that I'm going to order me some buffalo chicken wing flavored soda. I'm going to order me some ranch flavored soda. And then on those times that I don't get lunch break, I'm just going to go pop a top on both of them, combine them together. I got my buffalo chicken wing with my ranch. Come on. That's some good stuff right there. One of the worst flavors that I think I've ever seen. I think some of you guys already know where I'm going with this. There's a company called Jelly Belly. Yeah. Jelly Belly has decided that they think it's a good idea to make barf-flavored jelly beans. Barf-flavored jelly beans. Okay, now we all know that at Church Called Home, we are a no judgment zone. We're just Jesus, amen? If you have had a barf-flavored jelly bean, would you please raise your hand? You guys are sick. You're literally sick. Who in their right mind says, gee, I think I want to pop a barf-flavored jelly bean? Here's something for you. Maybe that's not your flavor. That's okay. They also have been so nice to and so kind and gracious to grace us with stinky sock. Stinky sock flavor? Listen, I've got teenage boys. I don't need no stinky sock flavors. Sometimes their socks are so bad you walk through the house, it just gets, you know what I'm saying, it just resonates. What about this one, moldy cheese? How many of you ought to be on board for moldy cheese? No moldy cheese in the house. My favorite of all, skunk spray. Yeah, it's kind of like what coffee reminds me of, to be honest with you. I know I just made about 50 million people really mad just now. Well, this morning, I've got some good news for you. I'm not going to be handing you out any jelly beans or anything like that, but I am going to continue this flavor series. And one thing that we know, Dr. Pepper says that they take 23 ingredients to make their flavor. At a church called home, we believe that we have 10 ingredients that makes our flavor who we are. The very first ingredient, we're just going to review a little bit as what we've gone over the last couple of weeks. The very first ingredient that makes a church called home what it is Jesus. See, we believe, this is what we believe. We believe that Jesus is the only way to heaven. He's the only way there. We believe that he was born of a virgin birth. We believe that he died on a cross. We believe that they tucked him in the grave. But it didn't stop there. We believe on the third day he rose again. He's sitting at the right hand of the Father. And guess what? Here's the best part. He's coming back one day. Come on, look over at your neighbor, say, he's coming back. Man, I love the fact that we serve an awesome God that gave us a way out of our sins so that we could get to heaven. Aren't you? Man, thank God for that. Our second ingredient is people. Man, we love people. You're not going to find us talking down to people here. See, we believe that everybody is a child of God. We believe that we're going to connect you before we start correcting you. It's not our job to correct you. You never clean a fish before you catch it. We just want you to get involved. That's why you're going to start seeing here in the next couple of weeks our connection groups, small groups. Man, we're promoting those things hard. We advise you to please get into a group, make some friends. But that's what we're about. We're about loving on people because God loves people. He loved us so much that he said, you know what? I'm going to send my son Jesus to die on a cross, and he's going to go to hell for you because he doesn't want to go to heaven without us. That's how much he loved us. Man, aren't you thankful of that? Come on, yeah. The third ingredient that we're going over this morning is purpose. Purpose is simply just why we do what we do. You know, heaven is real, hell is real. And people are going to spend their eternity in one of the two places. And we want to try to be we don't want to do as best as we can so that people will make heaven their home. And that's why a church called home does what it does. One of my favorite things that we went over was last week, servant leadership. And this thing, man, it really hit home with me. Servant leadership. We learned that you are not going to be able to lead if you can't serve your people, if you can't serve your team. We learned this from Jesus. Jesus didn't lead by a title, but he led by his towel. He wiped the feet of the disciples and loved on them. And that's what we as leaders need to do. And I'm just going to brag on our teams real quick. Man, we got some amazing leaders in the house. I mean, everything from the Grace Food Pantry parking lot to First Impressions, worship team, man, everything that is done is because we have great leaders around here. And I just am so thankful for our leaders. And can we give them a big hand? Yeah. So the next ingredient that we believe that makes the church called home click is excellence. And excellence is something that I love. I am a person that I love excellence. And one of the things that I love to do on a Saturday morning, now I've taken a job that kind of has taken this away from me a little bit, but used to I could do this quite often. I love to fix breakfast for my family on a Saturday morning. Now, I'm not talking just pancakes and muffins. No. I'm talking, I got some sausage. I got some bacon. I got some like homemade biscuits. Well, actually not really. My homemade biscuits come from the freezer aisle in Walmart. It says Grand Home Style Biscuits. And those things, man, are amazing. You just pop them out, put them in the oven. I guess it's homemade because we made them at home, right? That's what I'm thinking. Heck yeah. But anyways, we got some homemade biscuits. Man, I've got breakfast potatoes. We got scrambled eggs. We got fried eggs. I mean, we got a good breakfast. There's one thing missing, though. Who can tell me what's missing out of all that? Bingo. You cannot have a home-style breakfast without gravy. Now, I'm going to tell you how I make my gravy. Now, if y'all are note takers, I want you to write this down. Here's what you're going to need. Some of you young people, this is how you make gravy. You're going to need flour. You're going to need your bacon grease. You're going to need salt. I've got a secret ingredient that I throw in there. I don't know if I'm going to tell you guys or not. Yeah, all right, you know what? Do y'all want to know what my secret ingredient is? Creole seasoning. Creole seasoning is the best. So I put that in there, and then I put whole milk in my gravy. Notice I did not say, where's Laura at this morning? 2% milk. I did not say 2% milk. I did not say 1% milk. Definitely did not say skim milk. And here's a little rant. Can I go on a rant this morning? Here, skim milk people. I really love you guys. And remember, we are a no judgment zone. I want to save you money. We just heard about finance, that we're doing a really cool finance thing with Dave Talent. I'm going to save y'all some money. Skim milk the other day, I looked at this gallon jug. It was $2.89 for a gallon jug of skim milk. Okay, I'm going to tell you how to get around that. Go get you a 99-cent gallon jug of water. Add white food coloring to it. You got your skim milk. There is no milk to skim milk. I'm just telling you that. All right, so let me tell you how I make my gravy. First thing I do is I get my skillet. I like a cast iron skillet. Y'all got cast iron? Oh man, let me tell you, steaks are amazing on a cast iron skillet, by the way. See, y'all, I'm liking this, man. You are feeling me this morning. So I get my cast iron skillet. Man, I get that thing really hot. And then I take my bacon grease, put it in the cast iron skillet, and then I take my flour. And man, I just dump that flour in there and start stirring. It's starting to caramelize. It's getting brown. Now, you don't want to burn it because then that's nastiness. And the only way that you need to not burn it is you got to constantly keep that stuff stirring. And then I add my salt. I add my pepper. And then I add my secret ingredient, which is? I was just seeing if y'all are paying attention. You did good. And then I add my whole milk. There you go. That's good. Man, you guys are awesome. School is in session. I like this. But I take and stir all that up together. It takes 6 ingredients to make my gravy. And it's the most amazing gravy that you could ever imagine. I'm just going to be honest. But let me ask you this. What if I invited you over to my table on Saturday morning? We set the table. And you said, man, Pastor Dave, I am looking forward to eating some of that gravy. And I said, man, that is great. Have you a tablespoon of flour? What? Well, it's in my gravy. Here, eat that flour. You're like, man, like it's making my taste buds just like curl up right now. And like my mouth is really dry. Can you imagine that flour just absorbing all that moisture? But then I say, well, this is part of the gravy. Here, take this bacon grease and chase it down. I'll see y'all at the emergency room that evening with heart failure. I mean, no, it doesn't work that way. Here, best yet, here, have some Creole seasoning with your whole milk. No, it doesn't work that way. Those ingredients separately doesn't make for my gravy. But when you combine all those ingredients in just the right proportion, it makes the most amazing gravy that you'll ever have. Now, I know you're saying, okay, Pastor Dave, this is church. I'm supposed to be hearing about Jesus. Yes, you are. You're going to. But making gravy has to do with being excellent. See, excellence is defined like this. It's the quality of being outstanding. And I want to take it just a little bit further. Excellence is paying attention to the details. And see, I know that I need 1 tablespoon of my bacon grease to 1 tablespoon of my heaping flour. And I know that I've got to stir that together. If I have too much flour, I've got to add more grease. If I have too much grease in there and it's real runny, I got to add a little bit more flour. It's paying attention to the details. I want to serve my family by serving them the most excellent gravy that I possibly could. And I only can do that if I pay attention to the details. See, Colossians 3 says this. It says excellence is our spirit. It says everything that we do in Colossians 3, it says everything that we do, we're supposed to do it unto the Lord. I want to serve my family, and by making that gravy the best that I can, I want it to be excellent. Jesus was a man of excellence. Jesus paid attention to the details. He finished what he started. He never started something and stopped it. He finished it to the end, all the way through to the cross. Luke 16:10 says this. It says that if we are faithful in the little things, then we're going to be faithful in the big things. It also says that if we're dishonest, in the small things, we're going to be dishonest in the larger things. Just an example, not paying tithes, not paying taxes the way we should. Those things run hand in hand. If you're going to be dishonest in the small things, you'll be dishonest in the larger things. It's paying attention to the details. Those things speak a whole lot louder than the bigger things. And I know that if we do the little things well, then we're going to be able to do the bigger things well. That even goes like with our money. Look over at your neighbor and say, pay attention to the details. We're never going to be financially stable if we don't pay attention to how much money is going out. We know that if we have more money going out than more money coming in, we're in debt. And we're never going to get to that financial stability that we want. There's an old saying that says this: if you'll mind your pennies, the dollars will take care of themselves. Pay attention to the detail. Where's your money going? I want to look at one of our heroes in the Bible that says that he's like right there with God, I think, just because he's so excellent with what he does. And it's nobody but Daniel. Daniel in Daniel 5:12, it says this. It says that he stood above everyone else because of how excellent he was. He was under King Nebuchadnezzar, and Nebuchadnezzar actually promoted him because of his excellence. This guy was so good that he prayed 3 times a day and faced in the same direction. Man, that is attention to detail right there. It said that he was so good that he could solve problems because he had a spirit of excellence. People of greatness or churches of greatness, we understand the importance of detail. Take Thomas Edison, for instance. Who is Thomas Edison? Anybody know? What did he invent? The light bulb. Absolutely. That guy, when he had a research, but there's a fly flying around up here. Did y'all see that, man? He's like coming right for me. Woo, got to dodge out of the way here. Thomas Edison was a man of details. And when he had a research position that was available on his team, he would bring them in. He'd set them down at this table. He'd give them a bowl of soup. And he would say, just kind of sit back and watch and see what they wanted to do with that soup. He was looking to see if they added salt or pepper to that soup. And if they did, they were automatically disqualified from the position. He didn't want somebody to just assume that the soup needed salt or pepper. He wanted them to taste it first. They were disqualified for that. So the moral of that story is if you guys are going into your future employer and they set a bowl of soup down in front of you, get up and run. It's a trap. It's a trap, man. Don't do it. How many NASCAR fans do we have in the house? Okay, good. Hey, listen, I'm right there. But just in the event that there is a NASCAR fan in this house. Hey, speaking of NASCAR, man, that is the best sleep that I ever get. I can turn one of those races on, and like by about lap 30, I'm snoozing, and I wake up like around lap 470, and I get to see it finish. So, man, to me, that's just kind of boring. But there is a guy, I thought this was really cool, Chad Noss, let me read this correctly. He is a 6-time NASCAR Sprint Cup champion, crew chief for the number 48 car driven by Jimmy Johnson. And that team is owned by the Hendricks Motorsports. Now you say, okay, break that down to me. Here you go. The guy is a big deal. I mean, he's like next in line. He's the one that calls all the shots for his team. He's kind of like my favorite team, John Calipari and the Kentucky Wildcats. He's up there with that. When he calls somebody in for an interview, at the end of that interview, this guy always walks his candidate down to the parking lot. And somebody asked him, and he said, why do you do that? He said, I want to see their car. Now, naturally, I'm thinking, okay, so he must have, whoever this person is, you must have to drive a Chevy since you're wanting to work for a guy that is part of the Chevrolet team. But he says, no. He said, that doesn't have anything to do with it. I don't care what kind of car they drive. He said, what I care about is when I walk up to that car and I look in, oh, Lord, this is going to bust my chops so bad. He said, when I look in, if I see garbage on the floorboard, he's like, and then if I look at the tires, and the tires are lacking tread and they got just about that much left, that probably ain't good. He said, I don't care if the car's old or new. I just want to know how well they take care of it. He said, because the way I see it is if they don't take care of their own stuff, they probably ain't going to take care of my stuff. And you know, one of the coolest things is there's a lot of truth to that. It's attention to detail. Look over at your neighbor, say, attention to detail. Be excellent. Hey, listen, when you go in for a job, I want you to know one thing. Your tech skills are important. They are definitely what's going to let you start in that job. But you know how excellent you are, how close, how well you pay attention to the details is what's going to let you keep that job. There was a recent study that said this, that 89% of new hires who failed or got fired in the first 18 months didn't fail because of a lack of technical skills. They failed because they had a problem with discipline. They had a problem with being willing to be coached, and they had a problem with being emotionally stable. So your skills don't matter if you can't be coached, if you're not excellent in your details. The bottom line is this: the details always tell the true story. Proverbs 22:29 says this, speaking of work. It says, do you see a man skillful in his work? Then he will stand before the kings. You never see somebody that's lazy get promoted before a king. No, Daniel was a man of excellence, and the king recognized that and promoted him. I know this, at work, you need to be the best employee that you can be. Show up to work 15 minutes early. I know it's hard. We all like to sleep. Don't stand around the water cooler being a part of the gossip. You know, if there's a problem and you see a problem, don't stand there and just be like, man, I can't believe that. If your boss is having a bad day, don't be reaming him out. Be excellent. Be above that. Be a part of that solution. And here's what's going to happen. I know this, that if you are faithful, be faithful where you are, and God's going to promote you to where you're called to be. You know, you can't be faithful by just downplaying everything that happens at work. You know, here's another thing. Man, show people you care about them. Do that little extra thing that for your coworker. They might be having a bad day. Buy them a soda or something. Buy them some buffalo wing flavored soda. They'll really appreciate you. See, God is a God of excellence, and he is into the details. If you don't believe it, just look at the person beside of you. They got 2 eyes. They got a nose. They got a mouth. They look proportionate. He was into the details when he created you. He created your body to work like a well-oiled machine. You know, if you don't believe that, let your heart get out of timing. How many people have had that issue where you've had heart palpitations? Man, you can feel it off. But God was so good in the way he created us. Everything works in order. Here at a church called Home, we strive to be a church of excellence. Our excellence honors God. That's why you see an awesome parking lot team this morning as it was raining out there with umbrellas walking you in this morning. That's excellence. And then you come into the cafe area and then you smell the fresh roasted coffee. That's excellence. And then you come into the sanctuary and you see in the seat back in front of you, you see a pen on the left-hand side. You see a worship guide in the center, and you see your connection cards and your tithing envelopes on the right-hand side. It's paying attention to the details. It's being excellent. The worship team, they got here this morning. They practiced 3 songs. We did that before anybody come in because we wanted to be excellent for you guys. The tech team, the worship team, they ran all the slides. They ran all the videos to make sure the sound wasn't going to go crazy. That's attention to detail. That's excellence. And then, of course, this one. Pastor Jay, man, I'll tell you what. That guy, I love him as my pastor. Every week when I come in here, man, he's praying. He's seeking God, and he comes up with a fresh word for you guys every week. That's excellence. See, excellence isn't something that just happens. You have to be deliberate in your actions. Why do we strive for excellence as a church here? Well, it's pretty simple. We know that this Sunday is going to be somebody's very first Sunday. We know we have 3 minutes before they make a decision as to whether they're planning on coming back. But most of all, if we do things with excellence, it says to them that we care about you and that we love you. That's why we do what we do as a church called home. That's why our leaders push their team to be excellent in the details. It's because we know that that's what it needs to happen. I have 3 questions for you this morning, and I'm going to be closing this thing up. Man, you guys are going to go to Cracker Barrel. You're going to beat everybody there. Heck, they may not even be open at Cracker Barrel yet. Wow. You know, I practiced this whole thing, man. I'm telling you, I came down, I put in about 10 hours on this message just getting it. I thought I'd at least go 30 minutes. I don't think I'm going to go 30 minutes. What details do you have in your life that needs to be resolved? Is it work-related? Are you struggling knowing that you're loved by God? Are you struggling with that this morning? What area is the enemy beating you up in? Today you can have that breakthrough. How's your personal life? Are you living your life with excellence? Now notice I didn't say perfection. Perfection is something totally different. We're never going to be able to attain perfection until we see Christ. And he transforms us into him and his being, what he's like. But we can be people of excellence. And then the last thing is, where are you cutting corners? Maybe it's like, I used to love serving on my team at church, but I don't really care about doing it anymore. Or maybe I don't really need to confirm on planning center. Some of you all know. But it's only just, it's little things. Little things, paying attention to the details is what creates the excellence. For instance, let's look at something for those of you that are familiar with like the space shuttle. Can you imagine when the space shuttle is up there and it's coming back into Earth's orbit? The space shuttle has to come in somewhere around the 40-degree angle in order for that thing not to blow up and explode. Can you imagine somebody there at NASA saying, well, you know, why don't you just pull the nose up of that thing? Just, yeah, you know, it looks a little, you might be okay. I don't know. Let's give it a try and see. No, you will never see that at NASA. They know to precisely the angle what they need to do when that shuttle comes in. You're never going to hear somebody at NASA say, hey, it looks good enough to me. Hey, that piece of garbage in the parking lot, let's just leave it there. It's only one little piece. I mean, look how big this parking lot is. It's the little things. Pick that piece of trash up. Here's 3 ways to raise your excellence level up. 1, I want you to take extreme ownership of what you're responsible for. No excuses. If you're failing in that area, just say, hey, man, I need some help. I need some help. The second thing is I want you to prioritize. And it don't matter what you're struggling with. Here's your very first thing that you need to do. The very, very first thing you need to do is you need to make Jesus king of your life. If you haven't done that this morning and you're sitting here under the sound of my voice, man, we're going to take care of that here in just a moment. But you can never, ever do anything in life without making Jesus first. You're not going to have a successful marriage unless you have Jesus first. You're not going to be successful in your career unless Jesus is first. We can do all this stuff on our own, but it doesn't mean a single thing if we end up not putting Jesus first. And then the third thing is I want you to execute. Find out what it is that you need to do to come up to that next level, and then just do it. Be like Nike. Nike has that slogan, just do it. Just do it. Stop making excuses. Sign up for small groups. Develop an accountability partner. Stop being alone in this walk. We were never meant to be alone. Never meant to be alone. Find you somebody that you can trust that can walk this thing out with you and help you along the way. Pastor Jay says it best around here. He says, Temptation begins with what? Isolation. We were never meant to do this alone. Get in the Word, surround yourself with like-minded people, man, and I think you are going to do all right. So attention to detail. If you want to make the best gravy you can, you got to pay attention to the details. The reason we do what we do at a church called home is because we want to be excellent, and we know that people need us, and we need people. Amen? Amen. I'm going to get my son to come up to the keyboard. Guys, I appreciate y'all listening to me this morning. And I hope that this kind of just gives you a little bit better understanding about the ingredients that makes the church called home what it is. You know, I talked about earlier, if you hadn't made Christ the priority in your life, you know, now is the time to do it. And I want everybody just to bow your head. I want this just to be an intimate moment between you and Christ. Now, I have a question for you. If you were to leave this earth right now, would heaven be your home? Do you know beyond a shadow of a doubt that heaven will be your home? If you don't know that, we're going to simply just pray this prayer. And man, we're going to ask Jesus just to come into your heart. We're never going to embarrass you. We're never going to do anything like that. But we want this to be just a life-changing moment between you and Jesus. Just simply pray this. Just say, "Dear Jesus, thank you for loving me. Thank you for dying on a cross for my sins. You did nothing wrong, but you took the punishment for the wrong I did. I ask you into my heart. I ask you to save me. Forgive me of all my sins and make me yours. In Jesus' name, amen."